That's in from the side, ref.
Week 2 of the Autumn Nations series, and it's 5 from 5 for the Southern Hemisphere. And best of all, Ireland is ranked 3rd in the world. We have lots to chat about. Welcome back to the show. A rebranded show. We are not the Real Rugby Show anymore. We have rebranded to In From the Side. That's our new name. I'm here with Matthew Rhodes, as always, my partner in crime. Matthew, welcome. Tell the folks, why are we deciding on this different direction?
I think there's a lot of show. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great name, first of all, but I think there's a lot of other shows and podcasts out there that are done by ex-rugby players, ex-professionals. Neither you or I are ex-professional rugby players. We're professional brandewijn and Coke drinkers who like to watch rugby, and so our opinions are maybe coming in from the side. So we thought that would be a nice little rebrand for us.
Yeah, and if Richie McCaw could get away with it for like 10 years, we can get away with it now
why
in
not?
2024.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Matt, what a weekend of rugby. It was
amazing.
Beautiful. I said to you just before we started recording, I think since the quarterfinal weekend in the World Cup, this has been the best weekend of rugby that I've seen at international level.
Yeah, we called, it was going to be, I thought there would be one or two humdingers. They weren't the ones that we predicted, but all in all, great rugby and a great spectacle for rugby all round. And so it made for fantastic watching and viewing all weekend.
It was awesome. I turned into a couch potato. Let's kick off with Ireland v. the All Blacks in Dublin. No one, I know we called Ireland, but no one called that result. Let's be honest.
The only people who called that result are all my Kiwi mates who've been messaging me for the whole weekend since. So thanks, Clarkie and all the boys. Very happy for them, but I don't think the rest of the world would have called such a resounding victory for the Kiwis.
So where did it go wrong for Ireland?
I thought they weren't match fit. They didn't look like a polished version of themselves. Lots of mistakes. They were not clinical, and they were. It was kind of a boring game, if I'm honest. It wasn't exciting on both sides. Kiwis weren't flash. They did well to take the W, but I just thought that Ireland were just average.
No, they were. Like you say, scrappy game, lots of mistakes, very stop-start. You cannot blame the ref. You cannot really blame...
I didn't think Nick Berry had a great game, but again, you've got to play above those conditions. And speaking of the conditions, I thought, the weather would have played into Ireland's hand more than New Zealand, albeit New Zealand plays in those kind of conditions, especially down on the South Island. But Ireland should have no excuses. They just didn't really pitch up.
No, they just didn't pitch up, like you say. And it's interesting to hear Andy Farrell's comments after the game. He made no excuses. So credit to him. He just said, we cannot blame the ref. I don't want to hear about rustiness. If you want to play at this level and compete with All Blacks, you need to be switched on every single time. And I agree. I agree. It would have helped them if they had one game in the bank before playing the All Blacks.
To be match fit and match ready, I think yes, but they've all been playing professional provincial rugby up until this point, and so they should be good to go. They're all professional athletes, and so to be as poor as they were, to have the kind of lack of ball handling, lack of finishing, it wasn't great.
Yeah, and the thing I think just to like the tip of the iceberg for me that really pissed me off was Kieran Frawley had a shocker when he came on, dropped 2 balls. He really wasn't good, but against us in Durban, kicked 2 drop goals and he beat us. So that really frustrated me. It's like, mate, if you're going to do that against the Boks in Durban, have a good game. But he was shocking. Yeah. So great result for the All Blacks.
3 wins on the trot.
3 wins on the trot, and they're back to number 2, where they think they would. It's more like where they belong on the totem pole of world rankings.
Yeah.
And Ireland's 3rd, which is going to piss off all my mates in Ireland. But it is what it is. But it's undisputed now who's number 1.
Rightfully so. Boca are back up to number 1 in the world, where they should be.
Absolutely. Another game that had a big impact on the rankings was the Perler on Saturday at Twickenham between England and Australia. Again, we didn't pick England to win, but I don't think anyone did.
No one did. And the bookies had Australia as 5-1 underdogs, before the start of the game. So, largely everyone thought that England were going to take it, especially after they'd narrowly missed out to New Zealand the week before. And in the way that they played for many parts of that Kiwi game, they showed, a lot of class. And so if you just miss out on beating the Kiwis, you want to, take it to the next level and take the W the next time round and kind of right the wrongs of the weekend before. Everyone would have been backing England. And I think for the first 10, 15 minutes, it looked like that's what England came out to do.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, it just went away.
Just fell flat, mate. Let me tell you, 18-3 up, Cunningham South scoring 2 great tries.
Fair play
they
to
had
him.
their tails up, and it just fell flat. And it's interesting. I heard a lot of ex-England players talk about the defensive system because they're doing this blitz defense, which works for teams like South Africa. I don't know if it's in their DNA, and you can almost see like half of the teams backing the system. The other half is like they're second guessing themselves and they're not going for it.
That's a big issue. That's a big issue. If you don't have all of you going up as a unit,
I agree,
in a line and creating a wall of defense. If you blitz, then you blitz together. If there's one break in that defensive line, it gets exploited because obviously you're coming up so fast. So it did look like at times England employed the blitz defense a lot better, I thought, against the Kiwis. And then this time round, they just left gaps. They left gaps where they shouldn't have been. And fair play to Australia, they exploited those.
They exploited them, and also turnovers at ruck time. Every single time there was a turnover, Fraser McWright was massive.
Yeah.
And they just pounced and counted. But special mention to the debutant, Joseph Suali'i, which we'll get that name right.
Difficult to say.
But dude, honestly, before he was named, I never heard of him. Didn't know anything about him. Comes from a league background.
Yeah.
But what an absolute beast. I cannot remember the last time I was this excited about a new player coming into rugby union than I am about him. Just what I saw on the day, the hands, the back over the head pass while jumping in the air. He just created so much space. And you saw that in Tom Wright's try that he scored. You know, it's all down to that link man at 13 getting the ball away.
It draws the defenders in, no look pass over the top to right to go and score in the corner. Very Sonny Bill Williams-esque, playing in the same position, centre, comes from a league background. And the thing is, he's not even the best league player in the country. So obviously rugby union in Australia is behind rugby league in the pecking order.
Yeah.
And there are, he maybe be top 30, top 40 in the country. But, there's some big units playing league who've got the ball handling skills of basketball players. And if I was in the Australian administration right now, I would pump some money in to try and attract some of those players across, because the moment they do, they've got world beaters in their squad. Now, not to say that they need wholesale changes, but you need a few stars, and he's definitely one.
Absolutely. Now, I don't want to call this a dynasty. I think it's a little bit early for that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But for every single team that's been successful, that came off the back of a poor period in their history, you can narrow it down to one win. We spoke about this on Saturday. For South Africa, it was beating the All Blacks in Wellington in 2018.
In New Zealand.
Yeah. That's the game that showed Russie and the team, we're good enough, we can beat these guys.
Yeah.
And that gave them the confidence. And I think this was the game for Australia. I think it just feels like they finally turned a corner because, with the Toje scoring 2 minutes from time, you thought game over, they're going to close it out. Again, the Yarrow turns into a villain. He knocks the ball from the kickoff. And then Len Ikitau, who was quiet for most of the season, he had a great
stood up
game.
In the game, eh?
But that little pass out of the back that he got out to Jorgensen to score in the corner, it's just stuff that,
dreams are made of.
It was unbelievable.
But they had, and in those passages of play, I think it was around about the 7th phase that they ended up going and scoring in the corner. But you see there were backs and forwards intermingling in the line, and the forwards were playing, great hands, getting it out to the star men and the pace men out wide. So it just showed that they backed themselves. And we haven't seen a Wallaby team like this play like this for a long time. So fair play to Joe Schmidt and his team. But it's all about consistency.
Yeah, and amazing what a bit of self-belief can do.
If they can show that again, and if they can get on a bit of a run, if this can build, because they've got great players in the team. I thought Kelleher had a great game. Wilson led properly from the front. Good to get his try on. I thought McDermott, when he came on, played really well.
He did.
He showed an injection of pace, and he created one of those tries And then, as you say, Ikitau played well.
Angus Bell in the front
Angus
row.
Bell,
What a loose head.
mate, every time
He's
he got
awesome.
the ball, he looked like a charging bull. He looked like he was picking someone to charge at and just run with it. So, again, they all obviously have had a rock up, and they took it on the chin. They manufactured that into something positive,
Yeah.
and it showed on the field.
Yeah, fantastic win for Australia.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the rest of the Autumn Nations series. The next game on Saturday was Italy hosting Argentina. We thought it was going to be a close win for the Argies, or closer win than it was, but Argentina just absolutely blasted Italy off the park. They were brilliant. I mean, the tries, we picked our top 5 tries of the weekend. There were about 4 or 5 just from this game that we thought, geez, these are, worthy mentions of top 5 tries of the weekend.
And I think, there's one in particular that I wanted to kind of focus on, which was Spagnolo's try, or the try that was chalked off. 17-7, 1 or 2 minutes into the extra time of half time. If Italy are awarded that try, they go in 17-12, 17-14 down, but the momentum swinging in their way, it would have been a very different second half, I think. But fair play to Argentina. They just look awesome. When they've got the ball in hand, they swing it around, they're happy to run through the forwards. You've mentioned this off air, but running with the ball in 2 hands. Yeah, and they've got men on either side coming through and available for that pop pass, which they exploit so well. And so they're playing in a really attractive brand of rugby, and they have been all year. And so, we picked them to beat Italy, but maybe not as resounding as they did, so fair play to them.
Yeah, we'll get to next week's game, but we might be picking them to beat Ireland. But just on the running with the ball in 2 hands, that clearly shows their intent, right? Yeah. They're not here to kick up and unders and play a sort of kick defensive 10-man game. They're here to attack, and they're getting the tries. And I mean, they beat the All Blacks, they beat us, they beat Australia, they beat France in June. Everyone forgets about that, although it wasn't the best French team. Now they've beaten Italy away from home. They're having a fantastic season. They're currently ranked number 5 in the world, ahead of England.
But it's just great rugby everywhere. People, if you're not watching rugby on the weekends, what are you doing?
Yeah. But I'm excited about Argentina, and they deserve to be, top 5 in the world.
Yeah, fair play.
Just because of the brand of rugby that they play. It's exciting, it's attacking, and they've got skills across the board. So fantastic win for the Argies. Last game on Saturday night was Japan versus France. The result really was never in doubt. It was like shooting fish in a barrel.
Clubbing seals.
Exactly. There was some bright sparks for Japan. They always pull something out of the hat. Tatekawa scored a great try that we spoke about, that intercept. But, France showed their class. We didn't expect them to have too much trouble against the Japanese.
It was a try fest, and France, again, if they pitch up to play like that in every other game against stronger opposition, they'll be really hard to beat. But you can't really... It doesn't really give you much insights when you play Japan, because it's like men playing boys.
Yeah.
And it's unfair to say that to Japan, but they really haven't shown much in the games that they've been playing. And we've said it before, they're not the Japan of a fair few years ago. So... Unfortunately,
as was the case with Australia, Japan's now got backwards with Eddie Jones as coach.
Yeah.
Someone had to say it, I'll say it. Yeah. But France, good for the win. Their test is coming up on Saturday against the All Blacks. But I think 3 players that we spoke about that really stood out was Moefana in the centre, Biels Beari on the wing, and then Peter Mauvaka, who... no one ever mentions, but he's probably in the top 3 hookers in the world. He's so dynamic.
He is amazing. Good try, him and Dupont teaming up in the line, him to go over. But that's just one part of what was a fantastic all-round game for him. And so, rightly so, he gets a mention.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about Sunday's games. We'll get to the book now. First one up was the curtain raiser. Wales versus Fiji. Historic win for Fiji. Big congratulations to the boys.
They need a cheers.
Yours is done. There we go.
Brand for the pain. Cheers to Fiji on their first win.
Cheers, boys. Well done.
Ooh.
Fantastic win.
Ooh, that is mooi.
They were 14-3 down.
I know.
And we picked Wales, and we thought, okay, Wales is going to pull this through. And then they got a red card. Semi Radradra, who I thought it was a tough call. because the Wales player dipped into it.
And also, he didn't judge the ball really well. Right at the final minutes, he moves forward to catch it, which brings him lower, which takes him in. Like, the trajectory at pace of Semi coming through, it's tough.
Look, dude, we need a whole different show, a whole show just on yellow and red cards, because you know my thoughts on it. I think it's ridiculous, and it's ruining the game, right? Okay, they've got the 20-minute red card now, but still, Semi is out. And I would have loved them, play the full game. Let's see what he can do outside guys like Tuisova. But anyway, they galvanized the team. They scored.
Wales did not take advantage of. At one point, they had a two-man advantage.
Yeah.
And in any professional rugby game, to get two-men advantage and not close it out is, especially when the opposition is supposedly subpar. As in, you're not playing one of the big teams, you're playing someone who's a bit of a minnow. You don't see it out. It shines a light on some really big issues you're facing as a team.
They do have big issues. And now that's the big question is, do they stick with Gatland? I mean, they've brought him back. It hasn't gone according to plan. He's been with Wales forever. I think just rip off the Band-Aid and find someone new with new ideas.
But who?
It's a great question. I have no idea. But I don't think it's Gatland. But anyway, let's focus on Fiji because they deserve the attention.
Correct.
They played really well. I think in the midfield, as always, Tuisova was massive. But
what a beast. He is a brick shit.
He looks like Wilco Lowe, but he runs like Brian Abana.
Mate, he had so much to do, but he just had white line fever, and it wasn't. There could have been 10 people standing in front of him.
No one was going to stop him.
Yeah,
no one was going to stop him. No, fantastic win for Fiji. We're really chuffed for them. I love it when some of the so-called minnows or smaller teams, which I don't think Fiji is anymore, but that they play well and that they're competitive.
Well, you just think the weekend before they didn't pitch up. This is a different team.
Different team.
They had quite a few changes in their personnel for the game this weekend, and I just think they just looked a much more professional outfit.
Absolutely, and it is guys that play their rugby in France and England. They are the professional players that was on show on Sunday. Let's get to the big one at Murrayfield. The Booker did the job.
Yeah.
There was some nervous moments, admittedly, but I'm sorry. I think Scotland gets a lot of credit because they did put us under pressure and they dealt with the bomb squad really well. But I never, ever, ever thought that the result was in doubt. I always thought that, no, we'll pull this through. Yeah, okay, it was close at some point and they put us under pressure defensively. They were, I heard one of the pundits on YouTube say, I can't remember who it was, but he said, their defense was fantastic. They leaked 4 tries. We didn't leak any. So I think the Boks did enough. I wanted to ask you a question about the impact of the bomb squad. What did you make of the impact of the bomb squad? Because they came on all at once. We were cheering, all excited to see what impact they're going to make. And then Scotland fronted. They just absorbed that pressure that came off the bench.
They did, but you and I were talking leading into the game, and we both said that they'd be with us and make it a good game for 60 minutes.
Which they did.
They made it a better game for closer to 70 minutes, but they didn't play the full 80. The bomb squad, I think initially the Scottish held up and fronted up. They were prepared for it. It's obviously part of their strategy. When they come on, we go in extra gear. But if you see Jasper Wiese's try, it's the 79th minute and our bomb squad literally, try 5 meters out. It's a pushover try for him to dot down. And the commentators are saying, South Africa, undiluted power, stop them if you can. And that's 80 minutes into the game, and we've talked about this often. You have to play the full 80. So fair play to Scotland. They're playing a good brand of rugby under Gregor Townsend. He was always one of my favourite players at 10. I enjoyed watching him. He plays an exciting brand of rugby. They've got good provincial teams that are coming through, so they play good grassroots rugby all the way through into their international team. But for us, the result was never in doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. The best meme I saw after Sunday's game was someone asked, can you please explain the 7-1 bench split to me? How does that work? How does the 7-1 work? And the guy says, well, it's when you had a full day of jawling and brying with mates, and at 11 p.m. you have a Dutchman walking into the braai with 7 cases of brandy saying, "Ons gaan nou braai." And that's exactly what it is like, So, look, the thing with the bomb squad is, maybe they didn't make the immediate impact, but they brought calm heads and they brought experience to help close the game out. And that's why I had, all the calmness and confidence in the world that we were going to close out the game. It was never in doubt for me. Scotland were punching above their weight, so credit to them.
And they're a good team. So I think that they will give others a good run as well. A good hit out against the Bokke is always going to be something that you take, from yourself, positives out of, and you use that in the games going forward. But for us and for the Springboks, we weren't at our best. We didn't shine for large moments of the game. We were put under pressure often, and our defense stood up, I thought. And then when the chances were there, we took them. Some amazing tries. Mapimpi scoring 2 tries. I love it when he's back on the field, because a bit like the Kiwi boys, Will Jordan or Mark Talea, they're on the pitch. You're going to get tries out of them. I said this before about Mapimpi, and again, he's a winger, so that happens. But 2 really good tries. Andre Pollard dropping the ball onto the foot, exploiting the space. He goes in and scores. He still had some work to do because he had a defender coming through. Villy's next chip over again into space with him running on to dot down untouched. I thought he had a good game.
Yeah, Villy had a great game. Mapimpi had a great game. Another guy who we said needed to pitch up for this game was Thomas the Tank.
Go on, Tom.
A little bit of a lucky try, but still he had to finish, and he scored a great try. But I'm happy for him. I think he was solid. If you look at all the reviews and all the accounts online, everyone said Thomas du Toit is in the team of the week.
Nice.
He played bloody well. So happy for him that he finally got a chance to start, and he showed us what he can do at international level.
He scrummed really well, and then again he took his opportunity to score the try, and he scored a couple of tries like that for Bath. So
he did.
We were hoping that he would take his his club level game and put it on the international stage, and he scored his first international try. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one thing about Scotland, which makes me a little bit excited about them, is. And I think it's all Gregor Townsend's influence. Is they're a very smart, intelligent team. Like there's small things that they do in the game. Like they know they cannot compete at scrum time, so they get the ball in quickly and get it out quickly, right? But another thing that they did that I spotted was the pressure that they put at the breakdown. So every single time Jaden Hendricks put his hands on the ball, they just gave the last player at the ruck, just gave him a little nudge so that he gives one step back, and that sort of interfered with Jaden picking up the ball, and I think he dropped 2 or 3. So it's small little nuances like that, the dark arts that you always talk about, that they were really good at putting us under pressure.
Pierre Schoeman, he grabs the South African person that he's sort of in the ruck with, grabs his leg as Jaden goes to pick up the ball, sort of pushes the leg onto Jaden. So technically it's not, it's just like you said, it's the dark arts, and he did it well, so fair play to them. Got away with it. I thought also Grant Williams coming on when he did just gave us a bit more of an injection of pace. Wasn't part of the bomb squad, but as part of the subbies, he was fantastic. My other opinion is I think Jasper needs to start, and Kwaka comes on with 60 minutes to play.
Agreed.
Or 60 minutes played rather. He's such an impactful player, and he's got that sevens engine. It's so he has so much more impact when there are tired legs around him. When he's on the field and everyone's raring to go from the get-go, he just doesn't seem to have as much impact. So I'd like to see him as an impact player more often.
No, I totally agree. I think they gave it to him because it was his 50th test.
Yeah.
Fair play to him. He deserved it. But yeah, we'd definitely love to see Jasper start. Another player that I think is worth a shout out that had a fantastic game was Caden Moody on the wing. Defensively, I think they picked him because of his size and physicality, and he could stand up to Duan.
Yeah.
He cut Duan down to size a couple of times with some really good, well-timed tackles. I thought Caden had a good game. Under the high ball, he was solid, chased really well, threat on attack. I'm excited to see what he's going to do in the future.
I agree. I think defensively he was really good, but a lot of that, as you just mentioned, was the timing.
Absolutely.
He picked the right moments of when to go in, when to make the tackle. And as you say, when the ball was up in the air, he was immense, and he got a few back for us that gave us the momentum and the impetus going forward. So he was sensational. I think we also called it. It went at the end to Eben, man of the match. But for me, I thought Moody was a fair call to give man of the match to as well.
Absolutely. So the big question is, I know that they will announce the team later in the week, and we'll do another follow-up show doing a preview of week 3. But I think we can expect some changes in the Bok team. I don't think it'll be the same team pitching for England on Saturday.
I think there's going to be some changes, but again, England, we'll do our predictions later, but we just have such a strength in depth that I don't worry about a box squad announcement, because I know that the 15 or the 23 on the day, whatever, they're all going to be world class. So I'm just excited to see who gets to front up and who gets to go as the bomb squad, because it's almost as equally exciting to see who's coming off the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. So fantastic weekend of rugby. 6 games, 5 Southern Hemisphere teams, they all won. We sat down and we picked our top 5 tries. This is a new segment that we're bringing into the show. Top 5 tries of the weekend. Here we go.
Get up towards the 22. Now Roygaard away from McKenzie. Jordan gave the pass off to Ioane. And he takes it into contact quickly for Roygaard. Now Kane pops it for Satiti, but they were sweating on him big time. Now away it goes again. McKenzie could open up here. Here's Savia looking to line up Talia. Talia, down he goes, but the All Blacks threatening. 5 metres out with Roygaard. Goes behind the forward pack to McKenzie. He goes wide too. Satiti, great hands. Now Omua. Now it's gone in. There's the try for the All Blacks. And it's scored by Will Jordan.
And eventually goes to the air, but Lina and co just didn't have the appetite or the ability to chase that one. And it's free ball for Argentina to run back and decide where they might best attack from. Where they might best attack from is down through the middle as Gonzalez continues on his way. Nice offload. Albornoz, Melina, he started it all. Back inside. It goes to Delgui. It's a magnificent 7 for Argentina. Second half, utter dominance.
Out. Peach having a look, called out of the play by O'Keefe. Australia forced to tackle again. Smith probing, now running the little grubber in behind, and the clean-up is excellent from Lawrence. On come England. There's Gendry, keeps it alive for England. Both sides of the edge they come, and over they go through Cunningham South.
No, he's backward.
Muntz to the line. Lots of red shirts everywhere, but he's found a hole. Caleb Muntz, what's stepping? And great acceleration. Now the power. He's got all the way. Incredible momentum. Has somebody got an arm in underneath that? Blair Murray doesn't think so.
High half and takes it forward. McDermott. Valentini. Fighting for every inch, McDermott. They go touch wider now, it's tipped on, right, away for Ikitau. Ikitau for Jorgensen. Max Jorgensen, no, he didn't! Oh my goodness me! Oh, it's unbelievable! It's one of the greatest moments in Wallabies history, and it belongs to Jorgensen.
So that was our top 5 tries of the week. Really difficult because we saw so many good tries being scored on the weekend, but there were a couple of honourable mentions, Matt.
Yeah, some honourable mentions. It was a bit of a try-fest weekend all round. We mentioned already Tuisova's try for Fiji against Wales. Gonzalo Bertrand for Argentina, 28 minutes in. It was a bit of a fumble special, which why it didn't end up in the top 5. There was also Tom Wright's try, 26 minutes in.
Ooh, good one.
Good try. Van der Vlier's try. Again, there was a bit of a war of attrition, but he managed to get it over, which is good. Mapimpi's, both his tries were great. As I say, little dimps over, which we'd like to see. And Thomas du Toit's burglar try, which we mentioned, Jasper Wiese. And then Japan's first try, 49 minutes in, and then the intercept try as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell us what you think. Tell us if you agree with our top 5, if you thought that there was another try that we've maybe missed out or not made a mention to. As I say, there was a bit of a try-fest weekend, but for us, those are the top 5.
Fantastic. Thank you, Matt. In the next episode, we will look forward to next weekend's rugby. Springboks playing England in the 100th test in the Northern Hemisphere, or in Britain. A little fun fact that I got from a mate of mine, Mitch Miller. Go check Mitch out on YouTube, but then come back to this channel. Thank you, Mitch. Shout out. I promised a shout out to Mitch for that little factoid. Looking forward to it. We'll do another show. For the folks out there that like this content, please share with your mates, subscribe to the channel, press the notification button. We do share videos on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the social media platforms. We really do appreciate the support, so show us some love.
Yeah, we welcome all your comments, all your suggestions. We like to get a good chat going, and we want to hear your opinions too. This is a show about our opinions, but your opinions matter also. So feel free to make the comments and share wherever possible.
Cheers, and yes to being number 1 in the world again.
We're number 1 in the world.
Cheers.
Go Boca.